It's the DORK Podcast with Rich Keefe. It's the DORK Podcast and Davey. It's the DORK Podcast. Hashtag. It's the hashtag DORK Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag Dork. My name is Rich Keefe, joined as always by Davey Eyeballs. He is Rick Rude Von Dick Dude. All hail the King of Ginger Ale. It's Ryan. Davey, how are you?
I'm fucking tired, man.
Hey, wipe.
9 days of vacation with two kids.
It's too much vacation.
I'm dog tired.
It's a lot. That's just too much. Too much. Davey's also rocking a brand new sweatshirt where it says "Drink Moxie."
And I would say if you're a person who drinks Moxie and says you like it, you are a liar or an idiot. But that doesn't stop me from wearing this and enjoying the artwork, you know?
It's good swag. I like the sweatshirt. It's a good sweatshirt, but that is a famously bad beverage. It's a horrible drink.
Again, was it Ted Williams was the spokesman for Moxie?
Maybe.
Great hitter, not a great guy. So I wouldn't take his word for it, right?
He's a good guy. He wasn't a good guy.
I don't think so.
No, I thought he was. He's like a hero. What are you talking about, Ted Williams?
Notorious asshole. I'm told. World class asshole.
You're thinking of Ty Cobb.
I think I'm
Ted
thinking
Williams.
of both of them.
Yeah, maybe. Hard to say, really. Hard to say for sure. But that's not what we're talk about, Ryan. We have a lot of stuff to get to on the podcast. Let's dive headfirst right into this.
This week in DORK.
Well, that Barbie movie just keeps making money. It is now the 25th highest grossing film of all time.
So I had my sister-in-law wanted Rye and the girls to go with her to go see it. And this was like a 5 days after it came out, and she still couldn't get tickets. I think people are like second, third viewing of this now. I had to photograph this band at in Hampton, and it was a Barbie party.
Oh,
thousands of people came. It was crazy the amount of people.
Yeah. Hell yeah. No, my wife loved it. I haven't seen it yet, but it's making a ton of money. Also making a lot of money is Oppenheimer. Worldwide gross, Ryan. This is now a top 10 highest grossing R-rated movie of all time.
What is the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time?
And that's why we're going to play a little trivia game right now. It's the game of game. No, don't look it up. Don't look it up. Don't look it up. Don't look it up.
I won't look it up. I'm not doing it. I'm going to do it.
I see you're looking at your computer. Look at me. There is, I have the list of the top 10. Oppenheimer's already one of them. So if you could try to figure out the top 10 worldwide highest grossing R-rated movies.
Okay, here we go. So Barbie's 10.
No.
Oppenheimer's 10. Oppenheimer's 10.
Oppenheimer's actually up to 7.
Okay. Superbad
is not in the top 10.
The Hangover
is... Oh, I'll give you partial credit because The Hangover Part 2 is 10th.
Okay.
Only one of
hard.
these.
So
one of these was obvious to me. Only one of them. The other
one of them was obvious to you.
Yeah. Think comic book movie.
Deadpool.
Yes, Deadpool and Deadpool 2 are both in the top 10.
Logan
is in the top 10. Yes.
Okay, so that'll do it for comic book movies because those are the 3 rated R comic book movies that I know of. There's one more.
Yeah. And actually, the one that is number 1 overall for worldwide gross.
It's a rated R comic book movie.
Yeah. Nobody really considers it a comic book movie, probably, but it for sure is. Came out recently, within 5 years.
I'm bad at this. I am super. Hang on. It's a comic book movie. You said it's not a comic. It's people don't consider it a comic book movie, but it is. So it means like it's an off-brand comic. It's not Marvel DC.
Well, kind of. See, this is the thing. I think it gets lost in the shuffle of because it's not attached to a universe, but it is in one of the big 2. It's a Marvel DC movie. Yeah.
You almost said show.
Well, it's a Marvel TV, fucking Marvel DC property.
I don't know. What is it?
Joker. Crazy. So according to this is also worldwide, so it's not just US, but it's Joker, Deadpool 2, Deadpool, Matrix Reloaded, then Detective Chinatown 3, which is a Chinese comedy. So
see, I was going to see that, but I figured I'd be lost with Detective Chinatown, all the other ones.
1 and 2. Oppenheimer, Logan, Passion of the Christ, Hangover Part 2.
Passion of the Christ. I should have thought of that one.
It's an interesting list to be.
Did you see that? Did you see Passion of the Christ?
No.
Tough watch.
Yeah, I figured, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. The horror movie that I really want to see, the horror movie I want to see, Talk to Me, is getting a sequel, and it for sure is going to be titled Talk to Me.
To Talk to Me.
To Talk to Me. Yeah, it's a little too much. It's
I saw the highest of praise I think you can get for a horror movie was Guillermo del Toro said that this was one of his favorite movies of the year. Not just horror movie of the year, but like his favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, he did. Peter Jackson loved it too, I think.
Yeah.
Went nuts for it. So I got to get around to this. Meanwhile, The Nun 2. Nun 2. Is gonna be, according to reports, the most violent movie in the Conjuring verse. Does that do it for you?
No.
Violence?
No.
Nope. All right. Blue Beetle's out this week. You excited for that?
You know what? I'm sure it's okay. I'm sure it's a little fun little movie. But like again, what's the point of this?
There isn't.
Because we also heard like Gal Gadot came out today and she's like, oh, like me and Patty Jenkins are making Wonder Woman 3. And then DC's like, no, you aren't.
You're not. Well, did you see what she also said? Was that
What?
James Gunn was like, hey, we love you as Wonder Woman. We're going to make Wonder Woman 3 with you. Just kidding.
Well, I think are they just like axing everybody now?
Yeah, I think so. And I think Blue Beetle, if it's somehow makes a lot of money, they'll find a way to bring him back. But if it doesn't, he's gone too.
And you got to think like Momoa's on who's left? Momoa?
Yeah, but he doesn't even want to be Aquaman. He wants to be Lobo. So it's very confusing.
Which is cool with me. I'm fine with that.
What if they only keep Ezra Miller?
It's like everyone else is done, right?
Yeah, he's recasting the whole.
I don't think the kid who played Cyborg, I don't think they can have him back.
No, he had a thing
after that whole debacle. Well, he was basically Joss Whedon's a big racist.
Oh, true. Yeah. Well, that'd be more Joss Whedon's fault, I would say.
But he raised a big stink and made it public, and as he should have. But like there was negative press for DC, so I don't think they can have him back now. I
don't know. They're probably just going to start all over. Maybe John Cena is the only one left. Peacemaker. He's the only one.
I'm fine with that.
All right, let's get to this. Yeah, it's time for Should I Have Bought This, and it's brought to you by 47 Brand. Go to 47brand.com, enter the promo code #DORK at checkout for 25% off your entire order. Say you need some new hats. Football season just around the corner. You need some new shirts. Go on over there. They have both hats and shirts.
You got everything you need.
Do you need clothes for your body and your head? They got it. Right. Tell the people that are not in the YouTube chat what we're looking at here.
What I see is it's a looking at the scale, it looks like an 8x10, maybe a little bit bigger.
Yep.
It looks like I'm saying this with love. Please don't I'm not making fun of it. It looks like a finger painted picture of Tony Stark on his knees, holding up his version of the Infinity Gauntlet, about to snap his fingers.
Yeah.
It is a nice little painting. Looks like it was done with fingers.
Sure. Aren't they all?
No, like with no brushes, with someone's actual fingers.
I understand.
Yeah.
You cut off a man's fingers, use those fingers to paint his photo.
You can get really in the details there. Yeah.
This one comes in from Phil. He says, "What's up, boys? I came across this artist on Instagram. His name is Andrew Har, and I really love his style. It's actually my exact style. When he posted this one, I just had to have it. I paid blank with shipping, and since it's an actual painting and not a print, I didn't think it was that bad. It still needs to get framed, but it's an 11 by 14. So Davey was right. He's right on the numbers, a little bit bigger. 11 by 14. Shouldn't be too expensive. Anyway, what do you guys think? So first of all, Rye, you've described what it is. It's a cool looking Iron Man painting, very unique.
It is.
I assume a one of a kind, and supporting artists, which I'm absolutely
Yes.
definitely in favor of. How much do you think this item cost, and should he have bought this?
With shipping,
That's
I'm
right.
going to say that this was $67.
You are close. You were just under. It was $79.90.
11 by 14, supporting local artists. A kind of, like
Mhm.
you said, a one of a kind. No one else has this. Even if
No,
you have
no.
something that's like this and he did it again, it wouldn't look exactly like this. So I'm going to say,
Yeah.
I would buy that.
This is how we do it. This is how we do it.
Well, right. First of all, everything's expensive right now, right? Everything's super expensive. And I would say if you can get like a nice piece that you really like and you're also helping out an artist and it's under $100, well, I feel pretty good about that. You can frame that bad boy. You got to,
Yeah.
it's a good conversation piece because like we all have like different random like Marvel or movie shit in our house. Like
I mean,
most people
shit.
listen to this probably do. Yeah, just
Look
shit
behind me.
everywhere.
Yeah.
That's one that not everybody has. Like a lot of people probably have like I have like an Infinity War poster. It's a sick poster, but like most people probably have that. And I really think I kind of like it. Pretty
That's
good.
kind of good.
That's not bad. So that's how you play. So send them into dorkpodcast@gmail.com. Picture, brief reason why you bought it. And of course, it's gonna be a $25 minimum, and we will answer the question of whether or not you should have bought it. Normally at this time, we would segue nicely into Davey's video game minute, but we're not gonna do it this week.
I haven't picked up a video game controller. I did get one of the games I will say that I did get. Don't hit the sounder because this is just a quick thing. You're gonna hit it anyway.
No, I'm not.
It's time for Davey's video game minute. Even if it takes more than a minute.
So what I did get to pick up a game right before I left that I'm really excited to play. It's getting a lot of traction on Steam and it is coming to consoles, I think, in the fall. It's a game called Dave the Diver. Have you heard of this?
No, I haven't.
So it's kind of like I can't really explain it because it's like 6 different games in one.
Okay.
So if you're playing Dave the Diver right now, if you can see it, people streaming it and stuff, it looks really fun. So I'm excited to play that. But that's my next conquest.
You're going to have problems, just like everything else. But stay positive and stay strong.
We got
I'll try, Joshua.
We got an email last week that said we're not using the board enough. How come we're not using the board? I'm like, good point. I don't know.
Oh yeah, and someone did say that we did see the Mortal Kombat 1. Yeah, people are creating these with AI, and some of them are actually really funny. I don't know if you've seen these.
Insane. Yeah, it's like
The Will Smith with like the flame hand and like, yeah, some of them are really funny. The Joe Biden one's funny. Like,
yeah, there's good ones.
Yeah,
there's definitely
Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, but I love when it's like all these like kind of crazy ones, and then fuck, who was the one? It's like a very like just run of the mill celebrity. It like didn't belong with the rest of them. I forget who.
Yeah, it was like Angela Merkel. You know what? The character I would play though, and I think would have amazing fatalities, is Freddie Mercury.
Oh yeah, Freddie Mercury would be good.
Like, big Freddie Mercury character. Why not? What do you have to lose?
I don't think any goddamn
Nothing.
thing.
Not a fucking thing.
Yeah, right. How about this?
Y'all ready for bisque?
I think so.
Topic du jour. I'm glad you asked.
I think I am.
It's the topic of the day. And today, a show that we have never talked about on the program, or at least given its own standalone episode, Star Wars Rebels, that ran live from 2014 to 2018 on Disney. In total, 4 seasons, 75 episodes. That's, of course, streaming on Disney Plus now. That's how we watched the whole thing. And with Ahsoka coming out in 10 days? Ahsoka's coming out quick. And this is going to be very important for Ahsoka. No better time than now to talk about Star Wars Rebels. So let's start spoiler free for those that are sort of want to dip their toes in. We're not going to go balls deep just yet. But Rye, did you like it?
It's funny. I didn't. Now I kind of do. If that so on like second, I didn't rewatch all 75 episodes,
Yeah.
but enough. I skipped around. I was like, all right, I had to freshen up on some things for Ahsoka and all that stuff. And I didn't like the first 2 seasons of this really at all.
Mhm.
The third and fourth season are really good, but like I wasn't really into it, and now I kind of am.
Yeah, I'm with you on the first season where I feel like the first 2 episodes, the good establishment, and then like the last 2, for obvious reasons, are pretty good. But there's sort of a lull in the middle in the initial watch, and you're like, this is fine. But I just love so many of these characters that are in this show, and I want to see them again. And I think Rebels is some of the high end Rebel stuff is as good as any high-end Star Wars stuff. And I think some people probably see like, oh, it's animated, whatever. And they kind of maybe skipped over it before, or it's on Disney, even though Star Wars is for sure for kids, it's maybe even more kiddie thing. But this show, similar to Clone Wars, is some of the best Star Wars stuff. Now, there's so many episodes of both. To your point, there can be some filler, or maybe you sit and you watch an episode and you're like, all right, well, not really a whole lot happened there. But when this thing ramps it up to 11, I'd put it up there with anything.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is, and this is just my preference, but the animation that they used in the beginning, like especially the first season, was bad. Like it didn't look good.
Yeah,
because I watched it after the fact,
Mm-hmm.
and then it got progressively better, like as it went. But like the first season of this looked like dog shit.
Fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
And I think it was also a little bit more skewed to the younger audience then, which is fine. But I think as it went on, it kind of also matured a little bit, sort of like a Harry Potter series. I think if somebody said to me, they said, hey, I think Rebels is the best Star Wars TV show, I wouldn't punch him in the penis, Ryan. I think it's a fair take. I think Clone Wars is better, but
just on volume, I think they had the numbers game worked in their favor too.
It's
so
true. I think both to me are at this point now, I think they're both better than The Mandalorian. And Andor might be better, but Andor has another season. Hard to compare one season of Andor to a million episodes of these two series. But
so
I think
okay.
Go ahead.
So we've had 3 seasons of The Mandalorian.
Yes.
I would put season 1 of The Mandalorian above most Star Wars things.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think there's enough meat on the Rebels bone that makes it a contender. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think those are the 4 answers. It's either your favorite Star Wars show has to either be Mandalorian, Andor, Clone Wars, or this. And that's the top 4 in some order. Because then you have Bad Batch, you have Tales of the Jedi, but then like Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi were trash for the most part.
Wasn't there what it was like Resistance too? Star Wars Resistance is another show on like Disney or something.
Yeah, that takes place further on, right? That's like after episodes 7 and 8, 9, I think.
Yeah,
but it's a different timeline. This happens to be my favorite timeline or time period in Star Wars, and I think it's not a surprise that they ended up going back and making a lot of shows and movies based on this. But because I remember even as like a little kid when the prequels came out and being like, well, I like how it ends, in episode 3, and I know where it picks up in episode 4, but that whole middle ground, episode 3.5, if you will, where Darth Vader is the most intimidating presence and the powerful being, we need more of that. And that's where all these shows, that's where Andor is, that's where Rogue One is, that's where Rebels is. So I love this time. And then meeting some of the new characters, also overlapping with some of the old ones. I think they do a fucking great job with that.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And like you said, there's nothing better than full Tang Vader.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best. And just like the way characters talk about him, like they're just like
they're scared to death of him.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite character in Rebels?
Other than Ahsoka?
Yeah.
Maybe Sabine?
Yeah, I love Sabine. I'm a big Sabine fan. I got the little...
You got the thing?
A little pop here.
I hated ooh.
I like that piece.
Obviously, Bo-Katan is great too. Ezra's annoying.
Yeah.
But if we're not getting into spoilers, Ezra's going to play a huge role in this.
Ezra's
way or
going to
another.
be massive. Ezra, I didn't like in the first couple of seasons. That was also why those 2 seasons aren't as good. I think he gets better, but I think he's the worst in the group. Like I like
Mhm.
Hera way better. I like Sabine, Zeb, Kanan, Thrawn, like one of the best
Yeah.
villains.
Yeah.
Pretty
So
good.
I did this like quick recap of the Thrawn books that came out. There was a trilogy of Thrawn books.
Yeah.
So I didn't read them, but I did like a recap. So someone like recapped each book, and it's pretty interesting. That character is wildly underrated, and I hope that they kind of like delve into like what he had been up to, and like what he's been in those books. Like I hope they like talk about it a little bit in the show.
I know that's why the show has a chance. And I know Star Wars shows always haven't been the best, right? Like Obi-Wan left such a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, but the recipe is there. Like just Ahsoka herself starring in the show, with
Mhm.
Sabine and Hera being back in it, and then with Thrawn being like the big bad guy. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
This for sure is a must watch, but if you're on a time crunch, we'll get into some of the episodes that are like there are certain episodes that are absolutely must watch. If you got more time to kill, you can, watch the whole series. But what is your dork score for the series?
4.5.
Okay. I'm going 5. I like it a little bit more
Yeah.
than you. I'm going 5. Obviously it's not perfect, and if you can, weigh heavier the highs of the series, you're gonna like it a lot more. But yeah, so Rebels definitely worth watching, and we're gonna get into what do I got here? 6 or 7 must-watch episodes, and they're all
Mhm.
like 22 minutes too, so you can absolutely rip through these things, no problem. But all right, anything else non-spoiler with Rebels?
No, like you said, I think this is a show, and again, the good of this show, there's 75 episodes. I would say there are like, I think you listed a bunch, but I would say there are about 15 episodes that are 5 or 6s.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
You know,
Yeah,
so
no doubt, no doubt.
Spoilers! 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 Here come the spoilers!
All right, so I think the first episode is important, just like the first chapter of a book.
Mhm.
Like it might not be the best stuff, but at least introduce you to the characters. So you realize Ezra is he's like Aladdin, but he's a Jedi, but he doesn't really know he's a Jedi yet. And I don't know, like at first I was like, oh, here we go again, like with like the kid, like we saw it with Anakin, we saw it
Mhm.
with Luke, and like now it's just the same thing. But I feel like the supporting cast and like that, you find out that they're already a team, right? Like Hera and Kanan and Sabine and Zeb are already a team, and Chopper, good, really good little droid,
Good.
Chopper.
Yep.
But then they meet Ezra, and so that's really all you need from the first couple of episodes. Although the first face you see from in episode 1 is Darth Vader, so that's where you're like,
Yes.
we're in for something. We're in for something. I would say, Ryan, season 2, episodes 21 and 22. This series, like Clone Wars, does a ton of like 2-episode or 3-episode arcs, and it's called Twilight of the Apprentice. And this is what we're talking about with some of the best stuff Star Wars has to offer. When at one point you have Darth Maul, Ahsoka, Darth Vader, Kanan Jarrus, and Ezra Bridger, whether you like him or not. Like, and what the fuck? The Inquisitors,
Yes.
all in a Sith temple at the same time. Like, it's the coolest shit in the world.
And I think I was looking at like lightsaber fights throughout the Star Wars universe and like ranking them, and always in like the top 5 is the Ahsoka versus Maul.
Yeah. The one thing about this series, it feels like, is there's not a lot of drawn out fight scenes.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's very few like, oh, this is just like a whole look at this thing, like Lord of the Rings style. They're usually kind of quick, but especially if you watch Clone Wars, and I assume people that watch Rebels did watch Clone Wars, like the relationship of Ahsoka and Anakin.
Mhm.
And then what happens at the very end of Clone Wars, and then there's obviously a time, because this takes place 14 years after Clone Wars.
Yes.
So a lot has changed, and Ahsoka comes face to face with Darth Vader. But prior to that, even Darth Maul, as badass as Darth Maul is, and I'm glad that the animated shows brought him back because you got a whole nother thing out of him. But even he's like, he was using them because he knew, like, straight up against Vader, he had no fucking chance.
Yeah.
Sick.
And
But yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, one of the things I really did like about the show, other than Ahsoka and Sabine and Hera and like all that stuff, they actually like gave Maul a character.
Yeah,
like he wasn't just this like speechless thug. Like this is a guy like this guy went through some shit.
Oh yeah,
and you see it play out, and it's actually really compelling stuff.
Yeah, and he has a really good or interesting relationship with Ezra. And that could maybe play out in the future as well. Like if there's any kind of, could Ezra slip into the dark side a little bit? But Maul to me is similar to Ahsoka insofar as Ahsoka was a Jedi and then shit went kind of south. And so she still practices the Force, but she doesn't say she's a Jedi.
No.
Whereas Darth Maul was a Sith and then shit went south. And so he's like, he'll still do dark side shit, but he's not a Sith.
And I think it's not, they won't say they are Jedi. They are vehemently like, I am not a Jedi. I am not a Sith.
Yeah, it's sick. But like, so that's why there's like, at times there's these weird partnerships because it's like, all right, we don't really get along, but it's like our end game, or like we both hate the same person. Like they both hate Sidious. So there's
I think it's interesting too that like, and I know we're talking about Clone Wars here and not Rebels, but like the fact that the Jedi Order fucked up with Ahsoka.
Yeah, big time.
And she called them out on it. And that's why it's not because, Anakin went to the dark side. She quit before that. Yeah. And it was because they didn't have her back. They were going to hang her out to fucking dry.
Oh yeah, they are not perfect, even though they come across as though they think that they are. Yeah, but this is also where Darth Maul blinds Kanan Jarrus, as voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr. And he ends up being like a really strong character in this whole thing. We'll get to another episode where he's really important. But I think, yeah, you can go back and watch this. Yeah, Lear, I'm with Lears in the chat. Twilight of the Apprentice might be the best Star Wars story arc since Empire. I think it is. Like, what's better than that?
Andor's
really good. But
Rogue One. But like, I get it. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I like this more than Rogue One. And maybe it's just because Ahsoka, Vader, and Maul are three of my five favorite characters. And they're all
But what's the best Vader scene in all of Star Wars?
You
want to say it.
It's probably, yeah, I mean, it probably is
Rogue One. Yeah.
That was also 2 minutes, where this is like 40 good minutes if you take these two episodes together. I like that. Season 3, episode 16 is Legacy of Mandalore. This is a good episode for Sabine, and because again, she's going to be a major character in Ahsoka, and you see more Mandalorian stuff. So if you guys like the Mandalorian TV show, like this also dives into Mandalore a little bit more, how they get kind of split up, some more Darksaber stuff.
And so this is where it was confusing to me, though. I'm going to ask you, because I remember I watched through these episodes again. At one point, Sabine just gives the Darksaber to Bo. Right?
Yeah, Bo-Katan. Yeah, because that's not how you're supposed to do it. But she doesn't want to be like their leader, and she recognizes that Bo-Katan is the best leader, but she's also so she gives it to her because she.
But
thinks
that's
she
what
can unite.
Well, Din Djarin did it too, and she's like, "You can't give it to me. You can't just give it to me." And maybe it's because she lost it. Maybe that's the issue. You're getting choppy on me. Nope.
Oh no. Oh, I am getting choppy on you. That's my goddamn internet.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Where did I lose you? Did you hear what I said?
Yeah. So I mean, there are like certain rules to it with the Darksaber. Yeah.
But
the
fact that like Din tried to give it to her,
and
she's like, I can't. Yeah. So I don't know why that was. That's like a little discrepancy that it was like a little splinter in my head, but we're past it now. Still a great episode. Yeah.
That same season 3, episode 20, the episode called Twin Sons, this is the end of Darth Maul, and I thought they did such an amazing job bringing him back from the dead. Those awesome episodes in Clone Wars with like the whole Night Sisters thing and everything on Dathomir was insane in Clone Wars. And then he's good again in Rebels. And then he's looking for revenge on Obi-Wan Kenobi. He finds Obi-Wan on Tatooine. And, this is the whole setup, like him just watching Luke Skywalker. And Darth Maul's like, he kind of figures the whole thing out too. He's like, all right, he's not just like hiding here. Like he's doing something here. He confronts him, and Obi-Wan kills Darth Maul, like for real. And
again,
he kills him again.
Yeah.
And it was the quickest goddamn fight you've ever seen. And then just like that, he was gone. And I was like kind of bummed. I'm like, I wanted more Maul, even if he get banished and you just like knew he was out there somewhere. I was kind of bummed. But this is the other thing, and we can talk about with some of the other characters too, Rye, is that they're doing this show knowing that episodes 4, 5, and 6, which have obviously already come out, how do you have no references to these characters or like some of these new ones? So they need to find you're not going to have Darth Maul in here. So we already killed him once. Is he going to be bopping around at this time? Like when Vader's around more or not? So maybe that was one of the reasons why they decided to kill him.
And again, and I think it's funny to me now that you mentioned that in retrospect that Obi-Wan never talks to Luke about shit that went down prior to them meeting.
Right.
There's a lot, and just to mention, I've been here a long time watching you. People have come and tried to find me, including Darth Vader.
Yeah.
People have hunted me down as I'm trying to protect you.
Well,
never mentioned it. Never thought to mention it.
No. Yeah, like Luke Skywalker, he probably, I'm sure he's heard the stories of Darth Maul, but he didn't have any ideas how close he was to him. That's fucking pretty crazy. And then you see Luke at one point running across, and you hear his aunt screaming for his name. So I think it's ripped right from the movie. They have that. And then I would say again, if you just there's plenty of good episodes, but those are 3 amazing ones. And then basically the final 3 or 4, if you want to skip ahead. So it's season 4 episodes 13, 14, and then the finale is 15, 16. They just throw them right together. So it's World Between Worlds, A Fool's Hope, Family Reunion, and Farewell. And World Between Worlds, Ryan, this is the Star Wars version of kind of changing time and space, right? We've seen it in literally every comic book universe to this point. And this is sort of Star Wars's portals and all that kind of shit.
Yeah. And I think if you look at the Ahsoka poster, there's where the O in Ahsoka or above it, there's this map. It looks like a map. I think that's it. I think that's going to play a huge role in this.
Yeah.
And I was going over this stuff, and I'm watching the Ahsoka trailer and going through Rebels again. And I was hitting this hard. And obviously you do your research and you hear, I'm not the first person to have had this thought. But that somehow Ezra is there, because Ezra, you never see him die, and obviously he's in this show, so he's out there doing something, and he was the one who pulled Ahsoka out of that fight, with Vader. So he knows how to get there, he knows how to work it, and I think people are going to try. Or the whole point of this is they have to stop him from maybe undoing. I don't Order 66. He's going to undo the whole thing, or he's trying to.
Yeah, I wonder. Well, he's also he and Thrawn got attached to those space whales.
The space whales, yeah.
Are they the Purgles or whatever they are? And they just hyperspeed and they're gone. So they're on what they call it, the place beyond or whatever it is. It's so far away. And so I think now it's going to be looking for Ezra. And you don't know if Ezra is still with Thrawn, if they got broken up or how the whole thing's going.
Or if they're working together. Because one of the things that I heard in watching the Thrawn recap of the books is he mentions to somebody that there's a greater threat in the universe, in the galaxy, than the Empire. And the best way he could figure out how to fight that was to join the Empire.
I love it.
So he has the whole Navy at his command. So he's thinking it's not this. I'm not worried about Palpatine. There's something fucking crazier than him out there that I need his resources to fight.
I love it.
And so like Thrawn in these books becomes like this anti-villain, not an anti-hero. He's an anti-villain who's doing something nobly, but using evil means to do it.
And he's the best strategist we've seen, right, in all of Star Wars.
Oh, you ever see that It's Always Sunny when Mac's like, I'm playing both sides. And they're like, you can't tell me you're playing both sides. Like, you can't say that.
Yeah.
He's like, but I am. He's like, yeah, but you're not supposed to let people know that that's what you're doing. But he's playing like, I mean, the analogy was like he's playing like 3D chess.
Yeah.
Like he's playing everyone against everybody. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was working with Ezra at this point.
Fuck yeah, good point. And I always love a villain that doesn't raise their voice. Like that's
scary shit.
It's scarier when he's like calm the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Thrawn. Those people when they get really mad, they just get quiet.
Yeah, you're like, is everything all right? You're like, no, everything's not all right. Yeah, Thrawn's sick. Lears is all over this in the chat. Look at this one.
So this was the whole thing with the book. So like there was this whole thing with Thrawn, and go to the next one, the Grisk.
Okay.
So there's these weird aliens that like could figure out your deepest, darkest secrets. So his thought is like, if they can get to Palpatine, like we're all fucked.
Wow.
And they figured out how to like navigate. So like, you know how you go like hyperspace, like you could crash into stuff. It has to be like all calculated. They figured out a way to like freewheel it. So they can get to like the center of the universe without having to like stop and go. Like they can just get there.
How fucking cool. If they apply this, because the Skywalker saga, if you will, like it awesome, but probably kind of ran its course. So it's like, all right, where are you gonna go? Like Darth Sidious was kind of like coming back. No, but I was at Lears' other fun fact. It's like pop-up video here with Lears. He said in the fight where Obi-Wan kills Darth Maul in episode 20 from season 3, he says Obi-Wan beats Maul with a move that Qui-Gon tried to pull on Maul in their fight. Maul takes the bait and Obi-Wan beats him. There you go.
That's like it harkens to that whole thing. I think it was in Tales of the Jedi when like the training sequence where like Anakin was like just having Ahsoka do the same thing over and over and over and over again. Yep. And then it actually saved her life.
Yeah. All right, good point too on Tales of the Jedi. There's 3 Ahsoka episodes. So if you're jonesing for Ahsoka stuff between now and the show, in addition to Rebels, you can go back and watch those.
And one of them is really important.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Going back to the world between worlds and so also, which is cool, so that great fight scene that we're talking about with Ahsoka and Darth Vader, and they meet each other, and the fight scene's great, but so is the dialogue between the two. But then you also see the rest of that fight, right? Because Ezra pulls her out when that's going on. So like you saw a couple minutes of it in season 2. And then you get like another angle of it, and you get a little bit more of that same encounter, which is sick. When she cuts the fucking mask, and then he's got half the mask, and she thinks it's Anakin for a second. You're like, it's not. It's the coolest shit. So Ezra, did you get the sense that Palpatine or Sidious, he wanted Ezra because Ezra has the ability, right, to get into that place. Like Ezra's different than other Jedi in that regard. And so he was going to use them because if Palpatine had control of that area, then fucking forget about it.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, you can, and again, it's a kind of a trope now, but to be able to like, we're talking time, if you mess with the timeline, like what it'll do. Because there's that scene in that World Between Worlds where he pulls Ahsoka out, and then he goes and tries to get Kanan, and she's like, don't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And Sidious like tempts him, and he's like, oh, you can just go back to your parents. Like your parents are alive in this version, and you can go back to them. And he like almost does. He's like, I can't do that. And then, pretty sweet. So then the final 2 episodes, or like the final like mega episode, you get some good double cross, triple cross in there, and who's on what side, and you get sort of Ezra, big brain Ezra plays in here going up against Thrawn, and then space whales out of nowhere. But I understand why they did it. Like going back to what we're talking about before, you have all these really cool characters who aren't mentioned or seen in like the 3 main Star Wars movies. So like you literally had to make Thrawn disappear. and you kind of had to make Ezra disappear in a way. And I'm glad though that they didn't kill them, because guess what? Filoni's in charge now, and he can bring them back in TV shows.
And Lears would know. The Lears in the chat would know this, but what was the name of that thing? It was like a big minotaur looking thing in the sky that talked to Kanan.
Oh,
That like force bull that like said it was like a watcher said it wasn't going to get involved, and then it did.
yeah.
What was the name? It was like the something.
Well, that's what's so funny about both of the animated shows is how it's full on canon. Like this is legit stuff that happened, but there are some weird fucking things.
The Bendu, you got me.
Yeah, the Bendu.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy character too. Some of the connections too. So Kanan Jarrus, you can in Rise of Skywalker. So what was that, episode 9? You know, when Rey's hearing all the different Jedi voices.
Yeah.
Kanan is one of them, and so is Ahsoka.
Yes. So that leads us to believe that Ahsoka is now no longer with us.
Probably. I mean, by episode 9, probably not.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, that'll be sad. I don't know.
It will be sad.
I don't want to deal with that. So the end literally, because not only does the show end where like Ezra makes that sacrifice, so Ezra and Thrawn they're gone. We don't know where they are. The rest of the team is fine. They save Lothal. And then there's like a little bit of a time jump, and it's sort of like the epilogue, and it's like what they're all doing. And Sabine and Ahsoka get together, and so they're like, we gotta find Ezra. And Sabine's got the haircut that looks just like the one that's in the show now. She has Ezra's lightsaber, that green lightsaber, which is like in the character posters. That's Ezra's second one. Vader destroyed his first one, but so Sabine has Ezra's lightsaber. So those two are going to pair up and go. Hera has a kid with Kanan. So Hera's son, Jason Syndulla, I'm guessing is going to be in this show too.
Yes.
Right. Hera, also cool Easter egg. I think we talked about this a while ago, but in Rogue One, when they're getting ready to go to battle, you can hear over the intercom, they're like, General Syndulla, please report to whatever. And then you literally see Chopper like flying by. Because they talked about how she was in the she fought in the Battle of Endor, and like she did all these different like rebel things. So that's cool. Like they've tied her in, and now Mary Elizabeth Winstead as
friend of the podcast,
friend of the show.
Yep.
And real life wife to Obi-Wan Kenobi. I like that.
Pretty awesome. And how cool would it be to be their kid? Because they have kids, right? They have a kid or twins or something.
They might. Oh yeah, I think they might. Yeah.
Like both my parents were in Star Wars. And they go like, were they like extras? Like, no, man. Like they were like the real deal. Star Wars.
They were the real deal.
Do you see that story that like Henry Cavill's nephew told his class that his uncle was Superman, and his teacher called him like a liar. And then he like doubled down on it, and the teacher like called home. So Henry Cavill showed up to the kid's school.
It's pretty sweet.
I would have done the same thing. If it were my nephew, I would have done the exact same thing.
Oh yeah, I would have been there.
Bet. Yeah.
So that's sort of, it leaves off in a place where I think real big fans of Rebels, I'm guessing like Lears in the chat and others, were probably so hopeful that the new trilogy, like we're going to involve some Rebels characters, or some of these shows we're going to do it a little bit quicker than they have, because it's set up on a T for you. Like you could bring
there
and Sabine back.
Touch it. You can smell it.
It's
right there.
Christ's sake.
Let's do it.
Yeah, but I'm pumped. So some of these characters, well, I guess, yeah, they're gonna have to talk about where they were during episode 4, 5, and 6, right? Because Ahsoka takes place the same timeline as Mandalorian. So it's post 6, but it's way before episode 7. So it's in that kind of wheelhouse now that we're working in. But I'm just as fascinated to hear about those stories, like what Ahsoka and Sabine and Hera were doing for the last, what is that, 20 years or whatever.
20, yeah. And so this is where it's going to get interesting, because you have these like, so this is where and I know when I said I'm not the first person to recognize this. The two new characters who are Jedi adjacent, I guess.
Yeah.
Balin Skoll and Shin Hati, played by Ray Stevenson and Ivana Sakno.
Okay. All right.
Whatever.
Yep.
Again, I'm sorry to have to do this, but the names Skoll and Hati
Oh, hell
are
yeah.
they're Norse. Yeah, come on.
I got her. Where's my girl?
Get it?
Scotty or Scotty?
So it's it's Hati. So that's Skadi, but Hati. And they are the two wolves that chase the sun and the moon at Odin's request. And when they catch them, that starts Ragnarok.
Or even the Romans and Greeks.
Right. So you name those two characters that on purpose, which then brings up the Loth wolves.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So are they actually Loth wolves? Are they working for them? And there was the name that Ahsoka takes when she's hiding is like Latha. It's something like that, but that's the name of one of the moons on a planet.
Interesting.
So like they're chasing her, and like
yeah,
Lothai, and I forget the name, but like Lears is all over it. But we so they're like these. Are they working for the Loth wolves, who are responsible for Ezra getting into that place?
Yeah.
So like,
possible. Yeah.
My mind's spinning. Right, they could go any number of directions. And is this the threat that Thrawn was talking about? Is this kid fucking everything up?
Could be.
So is that why Thrawn's hunting him and using these two to do it?
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So actually, and just to clean it up, I think it's actually only 9 years after Rebels is when that's when Mandalorian takes place, because the Mandalorian was like 5 years after Jedi, I think, give or take. So the characters take how you saw them ending in Rebels and then just add 9 years. So basically, if Ahsoka and Sabine are looking for him, it's been 9 years since they've seen him. Like looking for Ezra.
So watching the trailer again, Sabine had to have some training under Ahsoka at some point, right? She does call her master.
Yeah,
in the
definitely.
trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, she could definitely wield the old saber. Like she had the dark saber at one point, and then she has Ezra's lightsaber now. But she also has all the Mandalorian getup, and she's like badass. Like she could make weapons. In fact, the Empire used her. That's how like her whole storyline. They used her to make weapons.
And someone actually on the internet said that like you can be trained with lightsabers and not be force sensitive. So is that, and again, so Ahsoka isn't a Jedi anymore, so she's free to do whatever she wants. She's probably just trained her how to use it, but might not be a force user.
Yeah, she may not be. No. And then you would think like season 4 of The Mandalorian, I would think Sabine's got to be in that. They got to bring her back.
Like, do we see Luke again in this?
I mean, you could definitely see Luke.
Kind of have to, right? Because he's got to be starting his school at this point, right?
Yeah, as I said, then at one point you're going to see a young Kylo Ren. Like you're going to start to bleed into that, although that is much further down the road. But Kylo's going to be born probably pretty soon.
Yes,
right. So Han and Leia are out there, and that's the other thing. Like Hera, if Hera worked as closely with like the rebels as sort of been alluded to, I would assume Han Solo and Leia know Hera really well.
Yeah.
Lears thinks Luke and Ezra should be the same age. I guess. Yeah. How old was Ezra?
Maybe not far apart, right?
Probably not too far apart. I would
because
like
they said that Skull, the Ray Winstone's character, would technically be the same age as Anakin.
Okay. Yeah. There's a lot going on. I love it.
I'm looking at this character who's this actress who's playing Shin Hati. She is the exact. If I were to do the Daily Dozen trivia celebrity mashup,
yeah,
she would be Chloe Grace Moretz, and Elizabeth.
Shue.
No.
Hurley. Elizabeth.
Scarlet Witch. Elizabeth
Olsen.
Like they are the same people mixed together. If you give her a
How
look.
about this? Oh, so there's another Lear's fact. Ezra was born the day the Empire was formed. That was also the same day Padme died and had the twins. So Ezra would be
The exact same age.
Huh.
Interesting.
As Luke and Leia. So is he gonna come back and be like an absolute badass? Like I feel like even though he's not your favorite character or my favorite character, just the way he was really the central character of Rebels, and then for him to be gone now for 9 years, either working with or against Thrawn or whatever, but having to survive probably in a place that's crazy, there's a chance he could come back as one of the stronger Force users like ever, I would think. They could build it that way anyway if they want. What else? Anything else we missed here? Any other theories out there? I love your
so Morgan Elsbeth, who you see, she's the one who Ahsoka fought in The Mandalorian. Remember, she was like guarding that place.
Oh yeah, and she got that staff, right?
Yes, she had the Beskar staff. She's a Night Sister. That's my. And the name Morgan seems really out of place in Star Wars.
Morgan.
And the witch in the King Arthur set of stories is named Morgana.
Ah.
They don't do like Filoni doesn't do this for no reason.
Yeah.
Like he wouldn't name like the name Ezra is weird to me. Yeah. Ezra Bridger is a weird name. Like there has to be some significance there, but the name Morgan, like to use that as, and she has like the little like tattoo thing on her head.
Yeah,
my guess is she's a Night Sister.
Oh my god, anything Night Sisters.
Yeah,
give us live action Night Sisters.
Oh, you got one.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope you're right. I like that very much. So this comes out. We might even they're releasing the first 2 episodes. I think was it on
28th, right?
28th
or 23rd.
I think. But maybe we'll do an episode just recapping those first 2. I think it could be
man.
I think it could be that good.
Something else. I hope they don't do the thing where they're like it's one they know it's a shit one, so they throw it away. So it's like we'll package them together, so it's like soften the blow a little bit because one of them kind of sucks and it's all set up.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think. Most of the shows that have done this, that's kind of been the case, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like even
WandaVision did it.
Yeah.
God damn. I wish fucking Secret Invasion did it.
get
those out of the way.
Fuck. I think it's 8 episodes too, which I think is the sweet spot. 8's
we
really
talked
good.
about this. It's good.
8's it. Because Secret
Invasion longer
Invasion,
than a movie.
Yeah, but 6, I feel like you don't really even have something. Whereas like anything more than 12 is kind of bonkers in this day and age. 10, you could probably sell me on 10, but 8, yeah, give me 8.
Now they talked about this being just like a one, like Obi-Wan, like we're done after this, or is it like
I don't know.
Could they do a second season?
The fact that they're doing 2 seasons of Andor would tells me that you could do 2 seasons of anything.
It's true. True.
I can't wait for that Andor, but that's probably going to be super delayed, right? By all the
strikes. So now that we're on that, is the jailbreak episode of Andor one of the best Star Wars single episodes of anything you've seen in Star Wars?
Oh, yeah, that's up there.
Yeah,
that's definitely up there. Ooh, that's actually not a bad topic right there. Just like the 10 best Star Wars like moments or storylines, like we're saying, or like something scenes. Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Yeah, or just like episodes. Like take every not movie and break it down into like the 10 best scenes from or episodes for each of those.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah. I kind of like it because even Book of Boba Fett, as bad as it was, had like 1 episode that was pretty fucking crazy.
Was it season 2, the last episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian?
Yeah,
blow your balls off,
dude. The Ahsoka Tano Mandalorian episode, which I think was episode 3, maybe, where of season 2, just called The Jedi. Fucking amazing. The what you're talking about.
I'm talking when Luke shows up.
Oh, yeah, it's insane.
That was insane.
Yeah, that was wild.
Have you ever watched like on YouTube the blind reactions to that when people the first time they watched it? People just going bananas.
I like when they always do the edit of the packed bar with the screen and it's like clearly from like a Manchester United game or something. But when the fucking like Luke shows up, like, oh, fuck yeah. All right, let's get to this.
Pick of the bomb.
Pick of the bomb.
Pick of the bomb. Pick of the bomb.
All right, Ryan, would you like to kick, receive, defer, or you may choose at this time to defend a goal?
I will defer to you.
All right, very good. I haven't finished it yet. It's only an hour and 12 minutes, but I've been watching so much Lost, I barely have time for anything else. I'm on to season 5, by the way.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
Flying.
Not messing around. So we'll do a Lost episode at some point with our guy Rossi, but I've watched I got like 25 minutes left, but the Johnny Manziel documentary on Netflix.
Is it good?
The Untold Johnny Football, pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. I
did see that little clip where they were talking to his agent.
Yeah.
About him on the iPad. Like, we can track how much film he's watched.
Yeah.
Blepkus.
Yeah, he was. I don't think
he's like, what do you mean?
I don't think he was cut out to be a professional.
No.
The crazy story that like, it's a spoiler, I guess, but everybody's been tweeting about it, is that when he was making all that money from like autographs and he had like all this nice stuff, and then he and his buddy made up a rumor that his parents have like oil money, and it was like an accepted fact. I remember saying that. I remember hearing anybody like on TV talking about him would like bring it up like it was fact. It's like, that wasn't true. And
I was talking to somebody about this. Yeah.
Crazy.
Sorry. I keep stepping on you today. I don't know. My timing's off. I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and they were like, it's the college football version of the Marilyn Manson rib story.
Yeah.
Like, we just assumed that's true. Like, okay.
Had to be true.
He removes his ribs so he could SSD.
Right.
Yeah.
Just take 1-2 ribs out. Whatever you need to do.
You can get there.
Because that makes sense. Because that's what
who would do that? Like he's not a contortionist who would just do like. Anyway, yeah. I'm interested in watching that because I want to see it, because I don't want to think of him as like a total scumbag, just like a stupid kid. And I think that's kind of how they're trying to like play it. Like, he's just a stupid fuck. If you gave 20-year-old me millions of dollars and all the fame in the world, I would probably be dead.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be. But he also just feels like one of those guys that was so talented but didn't really put the work in, and just was like, I'm going to get by on my overwhelming athletic ability. And then when it gets to like the pros, it's like, all right.
When it becomes a job, and like it's not fun anymore.
No, and everybody's that good or better.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's cool. He was one of the most fun college football players I've ever seen. So like, it was just reliving some of those highlights and stuff was pretty cool. All right, what do you got?
All right, so it's another podcast, and you love a true crime, right?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
So this one, I heard about it, and it's on Wondery right now. I'm trying to find it somewhere else, because you can only listen to the first episode for free. So I'm going to try to like find it somewhere else. But it's this podcast called The Apology Line. Have you heard about this?
No.
So this guy in like the 80s and 90s started this thing in New York City where he started like a toll-free number. So it was like a suicide hotline thing. It's like a toll-free number that you can call, and you could apologize, rant anonymously. And he even said in the thing, like, make it anonymous. Like, I don't want to know your name. I don't want to like whatever. And it got super out of control and like took over this guy's life. And at the end of so he's getting people confessing to like muggings and, stealing from their family members, murders, like people just like, and like this at the end of the first episode, it's so captivating and so wild. Like the guy just did it as like a fun thing to do. Like, he thought it would be funny, and he would like bring the tapes to like dinner parties.
Like Calico Cut Pants. The guy started it on a whim, but now he's swimming in
he's underwater. So the first episode ends with this guy calling him and confessing to all this stuff, muggings, murders, all the shit. And he's like, and the guy says, I'm so thankful for you putting this together, and I just feel really bad. I'm going to find you and kill you. And right before I do it, I'm just going to say, it's Bernie, and you're going to know that it was me. Like, and that's how the first episode ends.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, I got to find this podcast somewhere. It's like, so it's called The Apology Line. Captivating shit. when you're going 3.5 hours from North Conway to Southborough, Massachusetts. That's what you listen to. Hopefully your kids are asleep in the back.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah, otherwise they're gonna have questions.
Yeah,
That's amazing. Holy smokes. That's crazy. That'd be a good Netflix series, but
right.
I'll find. Yeah, I'll give it a listen.
Just listen to the first episode. Let me know what you think.
All right, I will. That'll do it for us. Thanks for listening. Give us your thoughts at Dork Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. dorkpodcast@gmail.com. What do you guys think of Rebels? What are you hoping to see out of Ahsoka coming up in a couple of weeks? You can rate, review, subscribe to the podcast on Apple Pods or wherever you get it. And of course, we stream these bad boys live Sunday nights at 9 right here on YouTube. You can subscribe to that channel. And if you do have any should I have bought this, send those suckers in to dorkpodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, next week, Blue Beetle. We will be doing Blue Beetle.
The Beat.
Because why not?
Because why not?
Because, why? Because it's a comic book movie and we've sworn to do them.
We're sworn to do it. What else are we going to do?
Well, I'll tell you what, Ryan. Promise me 1,000,000 times you'll never do another rule.
I can't promise you that.